Heber C. Kimball described Joseph Smith Sr. as one of the most cheerful men he ever knew. Joseph Smith Sr. had a sense of humor. There's some accounts that have survived of him chiding others, teasing others, if you will. There's one account of him going to a turkey shoot in his younger days, going to hunt turkeys, and him charming the guns of the other people who were shooting so that he could get the turkey before they could. There's another account where W.W. Phelps comes for his patriarchal blessing. Joseph Smith Sr. is ordained a patriarch in 1834, and W.W. Phelps comes for this patriarchal blessing and says to Joseph Smith Sr., "Say whatever comes to your mind." And Joseph Smith Sr. says, "Well, what comes to my mind is that I think you're a very strange man." And W.W. Phelps says, "Well, that I already knew," before the patriarchal blessing takes place. So he could tease and be playful.
Joseph Smith Sr., on occasion, as those days the records show of everybody, drank in public, but he was a moral man, and he reformed, and he turned over a leaf in Mormonism that kind of passed behind him, and what remains is that awesome moral stature that the son could emulate and remember.
Joseph Smith Sr. was not a man who was connected with organized religion. He had grown up in a household of people who were suspicious of organized religion, whereas his wife, Lucy, was used to being a part of a religious group. So it was particularly touching to Joseph Smith when he saw his father go down into the waters of baptism and be baptized a member of the church.
Joseph Smith Sr., whether it was due to poor management of the family finances or due to mishaps, as Lucy Mack Smith describes them, being swindled out of their ginseng profit, some of those kinds of things, while he failed to pass on temporal support for his children, I think he had provided emotional support. There's evidence of that. Sometimes we look at Lucy Mack Smith as kind of the strong one of the parents. So you read her history, she's standing up to ministers, she's standing up to the teamster Caleb Howard as they transport their goods to Palmyra. She could be a strong individual. And yet it's interesting that when Joseph Smith Jr. has his leg operation, he asks for his father. He sends his mother away, but he says, "If my father will hold me, I'll be okay." Even though Joseph Smith Sr. at one point weeps when contemplating Joseph Smith Jr.'s surgery, he has the strength to hold his son through the series of operations. I find that significant. The children valued their father's advice. They would go to their father for counsel. Joseph Smith Jr. makes him an assistant to the First Presidency, values his counsel. In fact, at his funeral, Joseph Smith Jr. talks about missing his father's counsel, that he can't go to him and counsel about different church matters. And so I think that the children enjoyed a close bond with their father.
The father died in 1840, and Joseph is writing this tribute or dictating it to his scribe in 1842. This is what he remembers of his father after his father is gone. "I remember the scenes of my childhood. I've thought of my father who is dead. The envy of knaves and fools was heaped upon him, and this was his lot and portion all of the days of his life. He was of noble stature, and possessed a high and holy and exalted and a virtuous mind. His soul soared above all those mean and groveling principles that are so subsequent to the human heart. I now say that he never did a mean act that might be said was ungenerous in his life, to my knowledge. I loved my father in his memory, and the memory of his noble deeds are written in the tablet of my heart." He valued the ethical and moral structure of his father, and he knew it privately in a way that people in public did not always recognize.